Hi, everybody. This is Marilyn. Do we have any audio for this? Wait, the audio's good? Okay, wait a second here. Let me double check something. How's that? Is that any better? Yes or no? Yes, no? Louder. Okay. Um, I'm fooling with a new little thing here about switching back and forth between my headset and my speakers. So when I get up and walk away, I hopefully can hear some alarms I've set. Anyway, hello everybody. This is Marilyn, and it's time for the noon edition of Welcome to My World. This is the 9th day of June. It is a Friday. Friday. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing wonderfully well. We've had some assorted and sundry stuff this week. I wanted to go over two or three little things. One is I've noticed some people in here have mentioned that they want me to come on more often. I just want to make it real clear. I can do every day if that's what anybody wants. If everybody's tired of listening to me, I can certainly understand that. So it's kind of up to what people want. If you have a preference of every day at noon or Mondays and Fridays at noon, or you have some other idea, just let us know, because Apex is really tries to be flexible about things like this. And of course, for those who do get tired, there's always the off switch. So maybe I will get back to doing this every day. Here's the thing. If you are looking for slick and slicker in trading, I can tell you right now up front, this is not it. We are just a bunch of traders all trying to trade together and get better together. I've had to back off a little bit here for some personal reasons. And also, I am focusing very hard on getting my trading up to the next level. So that's taken some real concentration and tweaking of a lot of things. And when you tweak things, you know, this over here isn't quite right. And then, oh my goodness, I got that. Well, this other thing I forgot about over here is some other way. So just please let us know. And I'll get back to doing this, I think, Monday every day, because it helps me as much as anything else. You need to understand also that I'm not some kind of a magic, know everything. I don't know anything. I'm a complete nitso. I'm just kind of an idiot when it comes to this. But basically what I'm doing is talking to myself, because I think everybody needs to talk to themselves. I know that's a sign of being nuts. If you trade, you're already there. Um, but when you talk to yourself, you kind of internalize a lot of things, and it helps you, at least it helps me, remember a lot of things. So yeah, lose right. You're really in trouble when you start answering yourself. So anyway, we have had some interesting things going on this morning. And the biggest thing I see when I kind of glance across, I keep little 30-minute charts of lots of things to kind of see the relativity of what's going on in all the markets. And we had a very unusual occurrence today. I don't have TF up yet, but I will soon. As soon as they get TF organized over onto the Globex, then I because I use a different data feed for that thing. So anyway, um, but this morning, the obvious, obvious thing to me is that while usually we want all the indices playing well together, if one is not playing well with the others, there is something very unusual. So when I look at this morning, we have had YM and ES have been right on the same page, and NQ is over here doing its own thing, and it has been going down for the last 2 hours. So whichever one of those you were trading, you certainly did need to be on the right side of the market for that. But you don't see that very often. You really don't see that very often. Then the other thing we've had that's bouncing markets around is this uh, so-called snap election in the UK. This didn't go quite like Mrs. May had planned for it to, I don't think. But nevertheless, what happens in UK, because they are so, while they use their own currency, they use the British pound sterling. What happens in the UK also affects the euro. So we had the euro sell off hard yesterday afternoon, and I think late into the evening, but it's trying to recover a little bit. Keep in mind that the US dollar and the euro trade inversely to each other. So they make one makes a good indicator for the other. They should be moving opposite. This morning we've had a nice move down on bonds, and if you track the 6J, or if you trade Nadex and you use the UJ pair, sometimes having a little chart of the ZB somewhere will give you a real good clue about what that 6J is going to do, what the JPY will do. Canadian dollar got very happy today. And if you notice, Brent came up a little bit more than West Texas, but those two markets tend to track, not tick by tick, but when they get in a trend, they do tend to trend together. And I hope somebody caught some of these wonderful available ticks on gold, because gold had a really nice move. I know the other day we were talking in the chat, there was a lot of, we've had a couple of days about crude oil with this choppy business, and then it takes off. So I wanted to remind you, if you haven't watched the videos or looked at the post that Lori did about her chop box thing and the coil trade, I marked these on crude oil because they were really easy to see. Crude oil fiddled around and fiddled around. It took it forever down in here. It didn't want to do anything, and it tried up, and then it tried down, and then it tried up. But once it broke out of this, and you never know which way it's going to break. I mean, it's best not to get a clear idea. But you can set the price level alert, which makes a doorbell. You can put two of them on your chart and put one at the top of the box and one at the bottom of the box. And then you get a warning when it gets to that. So then there was another day back here, and I put, yeah, this was the day. Crude oil spent the entire morning fiddling around. If you try to trade in this stuff, one of your big clues is settlement. Settlement is right here. The crude oil bus driver, all the bus drivers love settlement. But this crude oil bus driver, I don't know what he was doing here, but it's obvious that he wasn't getting very far away from settlement. So this chop box in here, same thing. It was going to go one way or the other, but if you're out here in this area, you have no clue which way it's going to go. But when it does break the box, it will go. This was a little bit late. It was 11:45, sometime after 11:30, but it did go. The other thing I saw, Jason made a super good comment about his favorite trade when he sees one, and it's what I call the elevator in the middle of a trend. You know, after especially crude oil runs 30, 35, 40 ticks, you better be tightening up your stops. It may go more, and if it does, there'll be another entry. They're not going to take the order entry away from you. But when you get one of these elevators after a trend like this, it 90% of the time or more, it's going to go on. And where did it go? Up to this is a big weekly magnet. It's an old one, but that's why I put these on here, because the bus drivers know exactly where those are. It just coincided this particular day with the one deviation level. Let's see. Somebody's asking me. Okay. I mean, you kind of have to give my attention. So anyway, those chop boxes, I just find it easier to draw a little box thing on there and set those doorbells, because it saves you from sitting there and watching that forever and half your life. And the more you sit there and watch and watch and watch, the more likely you are to try in your mind to make it do something. So it's best to just wait until it really does it, because it may take a lot longer than you're prepared for. At least speaking for myself. So let's see. We cannot get this VIX very excited about anything. I kind of thought it might by now have picked up a little bit, but it's trading below 10. It's unbelievable to me. It's trading 955. So we'll have an up day and we'll have a down day. Typically, when markets trend hard one direction, the next section, they likely will go back the other way at least a little bit. So don't get it in your head that just because, for instance, NQ went down hard the last couple hours, that it's going to keep doing that, and it'll do it on Monday, because you really don't know. You have to follow your indicators, and that's why we're all so big on learning to read those indicators. They will point the direction for you. It's just that the problem is there's so many moving parts that particularly, and everybody that comes to Apex, every single solitary one of us that has come to Apex has been so overwhelmed with, my gosh, it's, well, what about this? And oh yeah, I forgot about this other thing. And then you go back and you look at the video and it's like, duh, Daryl said that about 15 times, but it takes a while for all this to sink in. And once you get those rules, then you can start feeling confident that if you follow the rules, you have a higher probability of success than if you don't follow the rules. And you will also start to tweak things a little bit. Colors that catch your attention, or something you want a little more prominent, and things that you want a little less so. So anyway, the news next week. we've got a number of things happening. Next Wednesday, and well, first, let me say this. If you have not rolled your index uh, contracts, be sure you do that over the weekend. And I believe um, that there will be when you open up your Ninja, there will be a thing come up in front of your face that tells you that you need to roll the index. They go to September, and what we mean by that is TF, NQ, YM, and ES. Those charts for Monday will need to be on the September contract. We only have to roll those 4 times a year. They roll quarterly. Unlike crude oil that rolls every month, and gold, which is in a world of its own. It's kind of like it has its own. It does. It has its own schedule. So anyway, for Monday, be sure you've got those contracts on the correct month. So next week, midweek, Wednesday is going to be FOMAC day. So if you are new to FOMAC and you have never watched FOMAC and you don't know what that is, you definitely do not want to be trading Wednesday afternoon, anytime close to 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock next Wednesday afternoon, they're going to release a statement and minutes and a bunch of stuff. So if you are looking for an afternoon that you need to do some personal stuff and not trade, that would be a good one. If you've never seen that before and you're going to be in front of your computer, pay attention and watch what the dollar does and what gold does and what the indices do, because they're going to tell you if they like that or if they don't. And it's not unusual within a matter of seconds to see them spike in one direction and then spike in the other direction. So it is extremely volatile, and it can be very, very, shall we say, disappointing to trade. You get caught in that on the wrong side, and even if you are on the right side, there are so many orders coming through that they can easily skip your order and fill you at some other thing that you have no idea. So it's best just to stay out of that. That's Wednesday at 2 o'clock. But before we get to Wednesday, Monday we don't have a heck of a lot, which is a typical Monday morning. But Tuesday might be pretty interesting for the people early that like to trade the London session. At 4:30, there's a bunch of economic numbers coming from the UK, so the 6B could have some availability of trades, and any of the pairs on Nadex. Be sure you check the Apex website news tab, because they post on there the potential trades and times and the strategies to use. It's very useful. 8:30 on Tuesday, we will have some U.S. numbers. One is the PPI. So keep that in mind. The bond auctions are next week also. Monday is the 10-year if you trade the ZN. And Tuesday is the 30-year long bond, which is the ZB. And typically those markets are very quiet ahead of that auction. So if you trade those, probably I would be looking for other markets on those 2 days at that time anyway. And then Wednesday we will have crude oil inventory which we normally do a bunch of other releases, but that 2 o'clock on Wednesday will be might be a bit much. And then the news picks up on Thursdays and Fridays. That's typical. Also, in the bigger picture of next week, Thursday and Friday is the regular options expiration days. The third Thursday and Friday of the month, the straight up options expire. So it doesn't mean a heck of a lot to most of us, but what does happen many times, there's a lot of big money moving around in the markets because of that. So stay alert to that. And I think that's about it. If you're new into, and I know Mike, I think it was Mike, he said he was getting to the overwhelmed thing with all this. You get past that, and it's something I wish there was a fast way for everybody to get past it, but there just isn't. You have to put one foot in front of the other and just keep on keeping on. But it will come. It will start to make more and more and more sense. The fastest way to get this real straight is to use Jing and post your charts in here, because it's kind of like Lori says, you don't know what you don't know until somebody points it out to you. And then it's really easy to see. It's just something that you overlooked. And that goes on and on forever. So take advantage of this room and use that. If you do not have Jing downloaded, for heaven's sakes, do that. You will use it over and over and over. So, yeah, we're all visual, Mikey. I love that. I'm a visual learner. Yeah. Boy, I hear that. That's why I don't speak Martinese, because I'm not a numbers person. And Daryl just, boy, he's got those numbers, I'll tell you. So anyway, anything else anybody can think of? Yeah, thanks, Craig. Craig just put a link in the chat about how to use Jing. Just be sure you capture your chart from the complete upper left-hand corner all the way to the complete bottom right-hand corner, because there's a lot of little information stuck around on your chart that really sometimes we can spend 5 or 10 minutes trying to figure out what in the world is this, and it's just some simple little thing that, if the whole chart is captured, solves the mystery in 2 seconds. Okay, so I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon. This, I don't know, it could be that NQ is leading the other indices down for the afternoon, but sometimes going into the close on Friday, it can really get active. Not too many of us are trading that late, but just so you know, that can happen around 3:30 into the 4:15. If you trade that late, be sure that you're out of your trades by, I would say, 4:10 anyway, because at 4:15 they do close.